Right, hi everybody, I'm back again. Sooner rather than later, but this is what happens when Spirit want to get hold of you and share a message, they will. So this is going to be, I wouldn't say a channeled message, but it's definitely a intuitive guidance messages from Spirit, which are linked to, well, they are for Australia. So I woke up this morning and I felt this like almost like an SOS call energy around Australia, and I have felt this week that there are people around the world that have been in different countries that have felt like they're alone, they're quite isolated, that what's going on with their restrictive environments is really affecting them, and it's also bringing up a lot of pain and disappointment and a sense of feeling alone, and where's the support gone, especially in the spiritual community. So I actually didn't know about the earthquake in Melbourne. So there's been a 5.8 or 6 magnitude earthquake that happened in Melbourne yesterday, or it could have been the day before, with Australia being ahead of us in time because I'm in the UK. So I don't know whether any of you in Australia, or if you know people there, you want to share this video. It will help them, it will bring some clarity, it might bring some hope. This is for support, and it's also to let you know, down under, our fellow light workers, our loved ones down there. I've got friends, dear ones that live in Australia. First of all, I hope that you and your families are safe. I am currently in a position where I've got more time to do channeled messages or spiritual messages, and Spirit are definitely making use of me, and it's not always about it being convenient, but they will bring through a channel or a person, whoever is available, whatever needs to come through. This is the real, we are in this together, not the spells and the programming, which is based upon the old adage, which has previously worked for many establishments as a way to get people to comply, or to be in a sense of a lack of powerlessness, is what I want to say. The old adage of, and there's no paranoia or negativity around this, it's about speaking the truth, it's about awareness, but it's also about graduating on from that. It's about, we have to see the truth in order to deal with it, and then we deal with it in a manner where we return back to a place of power. So this old adage of divide and conquer is based upon a lot of social programming. It comes through our media, it comes through any establishment or entity that I don't even want to say thrives, but has to survive on this ability to it has a secret agenda, and it's usually because it's based upon taking power away from people and needing money and needing energy. And that's an old, it's the earth we're moving away from now. We are birthing a new way to live and a new earth. And if you think that maybe I'm delusional or there's something wrong with me, I'm obviously not the right person for you. This isn't the message for you. But many of us that work with energy, and we work with the light, but we are also very tuned in. And you could be working in any job, but you can be tuned in. It's not necessarily anything to do with what you do on a daily basis, but we have known that this is what we've come down here to do, which is to evolve into something which is much more unity based. It's about equality, it's about the healing of past lifetimes and methods which do not serve building communities for the longevity of everybody's happiness, but also empowerment. So what I would invite you with this reading, because there'll be lots of takeaways from it from Australia, because I feel like the energy of Australia is much more progressive than other countries, and like they're paving the way. However, right now it might not look like that on the ground. While a lot of these 3D programs and systems are holding on literally for dear life. But in the background to all of this, which actually is now coming to the forefront, is what Mother Earth. Now, many of us will call like Mother Earth, will relate to her like as in mother, feminine energy, but she is a receptacle. She takes all our waste, all our energies, all our thoughts, all our feelings, everything gets processed by Mother Earth. And this situation, a lot of the messages I've been getting recently from Spirit have been based around how the elements, things are being purged and being cleansed through the elements, and fire is a big way to cleanse. Fire, and it's very representative of Mars, the energy of conflict, war, passion, creativity, action, movement. And I feel like this is, again, the plates are shifting here. The game of life is shifting. So I'll try and get through these messages. So I pulled the cards, and I've got a mixture of the Starseed deck, the Starseed Oracle, and also the Work Your Magic Oracle. So this is definitely galactic support, our guides and our loved ones from other realms coming in. So like the SOS call, whoever put that out, and I feel like it's more than not just one person, but people have been praying, they've been asking for help. It's almost like we all go through this phase when an old chapter is closing, and there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of, before the surrender comes, there's a lot of expression and things, and anger and things that need to come out. There's frustration, and reaching out and praying and channeling that to ask for the higher power or the higher realms to come in and help is also an indication of where we're all connected. I'm in the UK, but yet I feel that energy coming from people in Australia. We are all interconnected. The distance means nothing actually, energetically. You just feel it in a moment. And it was interesting last night, because as I was getting ready to go to bed, for the first time that I've lived here, and I've not been here long in my new place, where I heard an owl. And I love owls. I think they're the most mystical creatures ever. And owls always symbolise wisdom, but they also, the shadow side of this spirit animal of the bird of an owl is about deception as well. So our owls obviously can see in the dark, so they can see through the dark, so they know what's real and what's not. But also they're beautiful, wise birds. And where I used to live in Manchester, there used to be an owl that would come every night, and we would hear it, and it was just gorgeous. It was really comforting. And this is the first time since I've been here that a spirit animal of an owl turned up. So I'm just sharing that with you because that might mean something to people. But also Spirit was also giving me a salamander. So I think is that part of the reptile family as well. So what I've done is I've pulled the cards. So Starseed and Work Your Magic. These cards are by, let me just go and have a look, because I like to always mention the author. Yes, Rebecca Campbell and Danielle Noel has done the artwork, and they're absolutely gorgeous. So she's actually designed both packs. So I've mixed them together. So what I've done is I've already pulled them out and had a look to save time. So I asked Source Energy to come in, and the angels to bring in some calmness. Because when things like natural disasters happen, what it can really trigger for people is, what else can go wrong now? Can it get any worse? But this is where spiritual guidance can really come in to support and help, because it's not denying a person's real experience. It helps them to empower them to help themselves, but also to see it from a divine intelligence point of view, and to offer some support and action steps, and to show you what's really happening on a energetic front. So I asked them first of all what's going on at the moment. So the first card that came out was Imrana, Rama, which is where are you being called to journey to. So what's happening is, and this will come through with the messages that I'm going to share with you. So this is calling you down under, to go through a different pathway. So I don't know what's going on in that area of the world at the moment, but I'm hearing the word strife. There's a lot of, people's freedom and ability to choose and feeling and being locked down can also create an environment of feeling powerless. And I want to bring you back to what they said before about the programming, which is Caroline Myss talks about spell casting and the spells in society that we are, and I'm just going to put this out there to you, and I want you to make your own discernment with this, because I'm not here to influence people. But the spells and the beliefs that are spread, okay? And remember, the owl appeared last night. Owl comes wisdom. It brings in wisdom, but it also brings in the wisdom to be able to discern what is deceptive and what's not. And what I want to say to people is, I can understand there will be, because I would be in this situation, these are questions now I regularly ask Spirit, because people will ask me, and sometimes I'm like, I'm not the oracle, I don't have all the answers. You actually have to go within you to find them as well. And also, we don't want to give our power away. And a big thing that's going on here is we're being asked, where are we giving our power away? What's going on in Australia is mastery is being presented, and it's a massive challenge. Mastery doesn't fall on your lap. It takes work, it takes discipline, it takes action to weigh shower and to break free of old systems, old patternings, and also beliefs in old structures telling you, well, this is just the way it is. Right, guys, so I just had to do a short interlude there because I got a delivery, a massive box of Epsom salts. I think there's some meaning to this as well. I'm very aware that our spiritual support and teams are always close to us, where they're always giving us messages. And that doesn't mean there's a message in every single thing. You've got to function in your daily life. But Epsom salts are a brilliant way to cleanse your energy channels, but also your physical body. And what I would probably say here is there's definitely a message there for some people to cleanse what they are hearing, what they've absorbed so far, and with a focus of where their energy is orientated, to move that back to within side, because that's where your true north node lies, your true north star, your direction, your truth. I also just want to apologise briefly for the noise. Where I live, there seems to be an obsession with house improvements. Every single day there's somebody with a power tool or hammering or something. But I couldn't not do the reading. It was just get on with it. Don't let these seemingly distractions, and there's not going to be a perfect moment where it's just going to be peaceful here. So, just apologies if you can hear that in the background. So the first card of being is where are you heading? And it's the Australia, and the energy of what's going on here is that it's actually bringing in a new direction. And many of you sense this. You know that there's something greater at play here. It's not just about all these really difficult challenges. And I've got to say and really acknowledge this about people's reality, is that when you have so many lockdowns, it does take its toll on you. I mean, we are human beings. We thrive on connection. They always say the antidote, the healing for things like addictive behaviours, which are always really about separation from true self. You know, they're a way to, it's a coping mechanism instead of dealing with pain and trauma. And they always say the antidote to addiction is connection. So again, what this is doing is it's calling for the way showers, for the torchbearers, for the light workers, for those of you who are very tuned in, and you know that all of this is temporary, but also what's happening does not equal taking your power away as a sovereign being. Okay, and you know, I have to bring it into the reading, but the way that this is playing out now at the moment is with the V, with the JAB. I don't want my readings to be taken down, so I, have methods to make sure I get the message that, Spirit wants to get across without feeding into the drama. Again, this belief system of, well, if you don't get it, you're putting me at risk. And as controversial as it may seem, we are all responsible for our health on some front. That doesn't mean that we exclude people who are, say, they have no other option, where they feel absolutely vulnerable because they're at risk. These are the people that we need to step up and support and help. But it's not about the decision that you make. And they want to bring this in again, guys. And again, a lot of the spiritual teachers at the moment, it's not about talking about fairy dust and twin flames. It's talking about real life stuff. It's talking about politics. It's talking about shifts on the earth, because we can't shy away from these subjects just because they're uncomfortable. But this fundamentally comes down to power, our relationship to power. And if we're not happy with somebody else's decision, but they are, that's a question to ask yourself about, because the inner conflict is with you. It's not with the other person. It's the fact that there's a part of you that's not happy with another person feeling empowered with their decision, even if that decision isn't something that you agree with. And this is something, as human beings, we have to walk through, and we have to resolve within ourselves this inner conflict of why we have an issue with somebody else feeling powerful with the relationship with themselves. Because if we're feeling threatened, or we don't feel we can relate to that person, even though their path is different and the relationship is completely, not relationship, well, I suppose it is, the relationship to self is different, but also their ability to make a decision in a way that's powerful and sovereign, what's that showing up for us within? And this is a question that's, it's the fundamental basis of this, because these cards have a nod to Lemuria, they have a nod to Atlantis, and different lifetimes where this played out, and it's playing out again on Earth. So many of us will have gone through this, I want to say, timeline of events, but they played out in a different way, and it's our relationship to power. And we have to look at, well, why is it that I am not able to make a decision here where I feel in my power, even when external circumstances are showing up as a means to try to take my power away from me? How am I going to let that happen, first of all? And secondly, how am I going to take my power back? Because this is all about power to, not power over. Not power over. So again, this is where the energy of this place is. It's about, we are happy to see other people in their power because we are in our power. Okay? Now I have to say this with most of you that will be pulled to this reading is it's a confirmation that you're already doing it, because we got 2 cards that came out for Australia. So stop overthinking and keep facing your true north. And actually, this is a nod to say you've done this before in other lifetimes, and you can do this again. This is really a path of mastery. And I feel that I was watching a video the other day about forgiveness, and it was fascinating, and it's something I'm going to bring into my own teachings, what I'm learning. And this guy was talking about, well, what if it isn't about forgiveness? What if it's about absolving yourself and actually acknowledging when somebody has done wrong to you and they've been cruel, that you actually process and you grieve the whole situation. And what I really loved was he said, just stop it and get on with it. He said, I won't be the teacher for everybody else. I thought it was so refreshing because he was so honest. And what he said was, people want, they want like a pill, or they want somebody to magic up that it's just going to go away. So they forgive and it just goes away. And he said, it doesn't work like that. He said, some things are atrocious and they're catastrophic. But he said, there has to be a point where you accept the wound, because he said, you're not allowing it to heal. And he said, the healing process is to get on with it. And he said to stop looking for ways and means to just get out of it when you've got to actually go through the process of grieving. And I thought, God, it was so powerful. And I really love his different outlook, because it's not easy, it's messy, and some things are very unforgivable, when something cruel has happened. And, even myself, I've heard it, just forgive, but just forgiving, it's not a simple process, because what's happened to that person can be life-changing. But what he said is that you've got to process the grief. And I feel that Western society has a very almost dismissive relationship with the process of grief. It doesn't understand it. It's part of life. But I feel like Eastern philosophies do. They factor it into their lives as part of a learning growth process. So it's not seen as something that's, oh my God, it's an understanding about love and growth. And I don't know why I'm saying this, but there's a link here to Australia and an Eastern approach to what's going on there, and I don't know where that ties in, but I just have to say that. So there's an Eastern philosophy way of approaching this, and it's so interesting because the other day I was doing a message about, I don't know, I've done loads of videos on my Facebook group. I'm on there a lot, so if you do want to join, please do. I'll put a link in the description box. I'm on there a lot, and this week I've done loads of videos, and one was about really opening up to ways of doing things that maybe you've never tried before, you've never seen. But we have to become aware of what's going on, however uncomfortable it is to talk about it. And the tarot was coming out with some cards which were, it's not about confronting your opponents. If you think the 3D energy is what's going, it's holding on for dear life, power and control. Control is not power. Control is power over, it's manipulation, it's disempowerment. So a lot of 3D systems have to function based upon people either staying powerless or reliant. It's a bit like an old codependent relationship. It's like super glue, trying to remove yourself from it, because it's so addictive. There's so many hooks, there's so many ways to constantly keep you believing, oh, what's next? I mean, that's the relationship that some people have with the media and the media outlets. And I'm not dissing them. There's a lot of informative journalists out there. There's informative journalism, but it's very far and few between. Spirit is saying to me it's like 5 to 10%, and it's all to do with integrity, it's authenticity, it's about people with no agenda. They just want to reveal the truth. But some of the platforms aren't there for these people to feel safe enough to practice and share. And, you know, Spirit not wanting to make us paranoid, they're just telling us the way it is. But they're saying that, look, for some of you, so let's bring it back to Australia. So what's going on there? The frustration of the lockdowns, you know, just feeling hemmed in. I totally feel for you. In Manchester, we went through lockdown after lockdown, and there were other areas. The way that they did it in the UK was that London got a release from it. People were able to go out to restaurants. So did Liverpool at one point. And where I was in Manchester, it was just, you know, I think we were at level 3 or 4. None of us could follow it anymore because it was confusing. It was almost like it wasn't methodical. It wasn't well thought out. It wasn't planned, because I think they didn't really know what they were doing. They were constantly, it was just reactive, constant band-aid behaviour, because nobody's ever, and it's not blaming anybody, nobody expected this to happen. You know, genuine people on the ground didn't really ever probably believe something like this could happen. So what was I going to say here now? So you can see what's going on. So a lot of you can see what's going on, and Spirit are asking you how you can retrieve your power back to you. Okay? And that is with them. I'm not saying this is like a solution or a method to detract from what's going on. No, it's not. But if you have been hearing and seeing very fear-based energy, it's time now to turn it back into your true north, okay? Which is you being by yourself, or being in your practice, or being connected. However that looks to you, it might be the hour that you get going out into nature to calm your thoughts and get back into your heart and to remember who you really are. Because many of you understand what's going on here in Australia because you've already done it in other lifetimes, and you are holding space for other people to almost like, not for the penny to drop, but for them to go through their process of learning. And I know with spiritual terms, there is no timeline because, again, with quantum physics, everything's already happening. However, for a learning experience in Earth School, we have to physically go through it. So it does involve time on the 3D. So it's almost like sometimes we have to let go because other people have to see things in a different light or a different perspective, or they have to be squeezed because pain is a motivator. So these experiences that are happening are actually happening as a wake-up call. So they're actually, these natural disasters and things, you know, a lot of the time people will be like, well, why has this had to happen? Why this is actually, from a spiritual perspective, it gives communities that are divisive the opportunity to come together and to really focus on what's happening. Because and I'll talk about the crossing card, because we've got the inner temple here. So can we see this bringing power back to you? But this card is about devotion. It's about going back into your heart. So this scenario that's happening right now in Melbourne is calling people to focus on what really matters. At the end of the day, if you ask a person, it will be different for everybody, but people will say family, loved ones, being with those that you love, caring, loving, feeling, being connected. It's not about bloody cars and shit like that. It's about love. It's it's about love. It's about the heart. It breaks us and it makes us. So, you see, the painful experiences are often which crack our heart open and bring us back into a place of surrender where we can't control, it's out of our control, and we're called upon to help those in a much more difficult situation, like people lost their homes, their loved ones. And that brings us back to our hearts to go, oh my God, all this stuff I've been worrying about and all this crap, it's not important when I see this, wake up calls. But also I feel like Mother Earth is our way shower in bringing us back together. So she is bringing us, can you see it's like two sides of ourselves, okay? The divisive self, which is you're right, I'm right, you're wrong, okay? Maybe you're right and I'm wrong, okay? And then there's the other side that's like, look, the loving, non-judgmental side. And it's what's going to set the process of these situations externally from ending. So collectively, and it's an energetic thing, guys, that's the only way I can describe it to you, is if we come together, even if we're divisive in our opinions or our beliefs, and we bring this unity energy in, how we do it is up to us. I don't have a spirit not going to give us all the answers. We've got to navigate this. That's part of the process, is learning. Like I said to a client recently, if you do something knowing it's going to work, but you're not coming from a place of authenticity, you want reassurance it's all going to work before you even do it. That's not the right reasons to go into something, okay? You go in heart and soul, and I think these natural disasters are waking people up, and you will already be woken up, and you might be asking me, well, Angela, I feel like this is what the call is for, because the Star Family card crossed this, and it says you're part of a team of souls calling support. And I really want to say to you, you're not alone. I'm sat here not in Manchester, but in the UK, and I can feel what people are feeling down there, and I can tune into it, and you've got my full support from an earth soul sister front. From a prayer point of view, I can send healing energy. We can all do it. And maybe this is a better use of our time than however much, whatever external systems try to reprogram us to stay in fear and worry. That's not the best use of my time and energy. And also, it's definitely not me tuned into my heart, because I know if even just feeling connected and sending love, I feel that too. We all get something out of it, and we're not doing it for that reason, but that's almost like the payoff. So this is the action step. So I asked Spirit, what's the action step? And it is align your life. So what needs to change? So that will be different for everybody else. It can be stop separating ourselves out from people that we don't agree with, just because we've made this decision. Well, are they our opinions or are they not? Or are they opinions that have been forced upon us by society right now with what's going on out there? Are we going to let that dictate to us how we direct our energy? This is where the collective power of human free will overcome any 3D energies that try to control. And I'm not trying to sound like, a theorist here. This is about, and this is an empowering message here that wants to come through. But we need to fix what's broken here. what's broken in our society, in our communities, what's not right. I just need to move so I'm a bit more comfortable, guys, because I'm kneeling on the floor here. Again, I need to change position, changing outlooks, changing focus. Like, this is not a card of alignment, it's a card of somebody indifferent, shattered into pieces. She's got two mouths, she's got two noses, so there's two sides of her here that aren't aligned. Bring yourself back into alignment. Again, it was this analogy they gave me this morning, which was like, you see somebody make a decision, you don't agree with it because it's not right for you. Number one, it's none of your business. And secondly, we don't know that person's circumstances and why they've made that decision. And also, if that's their sovereign right, just like it's your sovereign right to choose for yourself. And I think when that ends, when we start to gang up against other people from having different choices to us, we start to, I would question somebody's, I wouldn't question it, but, when they are, the connection to their angels and they're all about love and light, it's, well, how do you face somebody that doesn't agree with you? Do you embrace them? Or are you fearful and ignorant and judgmental? And do you have a preconception about somebody through lack of knowledge or understanding, or not finding the common ground? I used to say to all my students, because I love being around people from different backgrounds and different religions, and I've got friends from all sorts of religions, and we're probably if I put them all in a room, they'd all have opposing views. But I absolutely love them all because I love their ability. They're just so different. They teach me so much. And I used to say to my students, because they were from all around the world, and we used to have the best conversations. And you know what they were based upon? Listening to them talk about their experiences. Some of them had come from different countries. They'd come from war-torn countries. And nobody had given them a platform to talk about it. And they would talk to me about their families and their food and things they'd gone through. And I was like, oh my God, I would never know this about you. But also their willingness to succeed, so that this opportunity to come to this country. And then there were other people that I met that were from the UK, and they were wasting their opportunities. There were people that had come here from different countries, and they're wasting opportunities as well, because they were struggling with other things going on in their life, whether it was mental health or anxiety. And also listening to them, fear of failure, fear of doing well, because they'd had so much adversity, they were a little bit weary. Sometimes we don't give people a chance. We just think, oh, well, this person is, I think where I am, and this is my personal opinion, where I am challenged and probably where I need to be more misunderstanding. My misunderstanding is with some people that are just constantly spreading fear. That's something that I still cannot get around, because I don't see how that's helpful. And I'm just being completely honest with you here, which is I do find it unacceptable, because it's almost like, well, if you are you're invested in provoking a reaction in people because they've got their opinion, and then you come along and you don't like them just being happy with what they're doing. You have to provoke them and then get them into a place of fear where they're like, oh no, and almost like unground them. I mean, obviously that other person's learning is to not let another person's opinion or belief system based in fear unground them and affect their sovereignty and power. Well, what does it say about that person? Why are they not invested in us moving forward together? Why does it have to be divisive? What are they getting out of that? That's something I'm bringing up to the conversation here, guys, because I want to know, like, what are they getting out of it? Does it make them feel better about themselves? What helps them to feel not okay with unity? What's it threatening their life? What's a unity consciousness threatening their life with? Is it so they can't moan? They can't stay in victimhood? They can't complain? They're invested in complaining. And why is that how they get their attention? Is that how they come across as seemingly intelligent because they research stuff and it makes them think, well, actually here, yeah, do you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just bringing that to the table here, guys, but we are talking about Australia here in the call. So this is potential outcomes here. So we've got the We Are Hathors card, and this is deep love, mother's milk and birth as a portal. So that I did a reading for the autumn equinox, and I actually was going to do a spring equinox for the southern hemisphere, but this has actually come up instead. So the energies for Australia. So I feel like Australia, interestingly enough, is one of the nations that's actually going to be really birthing this new earth, even though it doesn't look it. It's like just before the light cracks through, all the dark comes up, doesn't it? All the shadows really appear in the strongest way and format. But we have to understand that Mother Earth is acting almost like a conduit of release of this energy. So what we're saying, what she's saying here in the cards is that we have to nurture ourselves first and each other. We have to stop coming from a wounded place of attack, of conflict, of division, because this is being reflected in these natural disasters, but it's also a release of energy. Fire is passion. It's like anger. Mars is the planet of war and conflict and anger. We have to channel our anger, not at each other, but we have to process it, and we have to acknowledge it and not allow it to seep and to become resentful. And the reason I'm giving these messages to those of you who you might want the magic pill at the moment, you might want the magic answer, and there isn't one, because we are the answer. Collectively, we are the answer, but it does start with how we are within. So the guidance here is to nurture mother's milk, birth as a portal. You are birthing something new down under, but it's going to help if you come at this with an Eastern philosophy. And I'm going to look up what salamander means, because I think this is going to be interesting to bring through the energy of salamander. What salamander coming up, because it's turned up in this reading as a message. Let's see what the spirit animal of the salamander means. But can you see on the card, there's a link to ancient Egypt here. So can you see here on the card, they're together, they're not separated, they're together in twos. They're about to walk through this portal, and it's being overseen by groups as well. But we must call in the support. So if you are, this was the crossing card, the star family. So if you are struggling right now and you're feeling helpless, you are taking you're energetically holding space, but you're feeling overwhelmed and you've got this energy on your shoulders. It's time to take it away. Okay, you need a break. You need to restore your body with light, and rebalance it. Rebalance your energetic system. How you will do that will be different for everybody. We're all different. Some of us do it with exercise. Some of us do it with just a retreat from information systems and what we're listening to and what we're hearing. See, it's so funny actually. When I first started this reading, there was like some guy with a jackhammer thing down the road, and just like sometimes I think, just as we're about to sit down and set everything up, And I just heard, just in a loving way, just go for it, because there's always going to be something putting your way to go. Don't let it hold you back from doing the reading. The reading's more important. And it's so funny because as I've done the reading, it's completely dissipated. There's nobody out there now. Because my focus has just completely just focused on my focus has just been on the cards and spirit. So interesting that, isn't it? Interesting. All these, see, spirit are with us all the time. Divine intelligence it's who we are. It's part of who we are. It's in nature. It's in plants. It's in flowers. It's in the elements that we breathe, that we absorb. We're all part of it, guys. It's the most powerful tool that we have. It's these systems and this absolute nonsense that we're having to deal with at times. I'm just going to say, like a human being, it's in some respects irrelevant when what we have around us right in front of us. But for you in Australia, it's about calling in the support and being reassured you're not alone. You know, you're not alone. There are some of us here thinking of you. And for those of you down under, and I've got friends, I don't speak to them all the time, some I've lost contact with, people I used to work with, I'm thinking of you. I'm not thinking, oh, why have I not heard? I'm thinking of you, and I'm sending you my love from my heart to yours, because that's Hatha energy. Hatha energy, Hatha is the goddess of love, of home and family. She's got divine mother energy. And this is what we are. This is what Australia is heading towards, which is care and concern for each other. And Mother Nature is turning up as the teacher to bring the focus onto this, to wake people up, okay? At the same time, she's acting as a conduit to allow an exit point of all this energy, to stop us from self-destructing ourselves. Right, guys, so that's the message. So for those of you who are holding the light or have been holding the light and you're feeling overwhelmed, maybe it's time to step back, hand the baton to other light workers. You know, it's about not self-preservation, but it's about nurturance, okay? Nobody wants anybody to martyr or be the victim. We're no use to anybody like that. But also is to understand that there is a divine unfoldment here. And what that is that it's through sometimes pain and challenge, but that's how we learn the most, unfortunately. It's giving an opportunity for people who maybe are less conscious and do not have a spiritual connection. It's waking them up. And what can happen is people who are in the 5D, part of that mastery of learning of energy and practicing it, living it, breathing it, being it, is that we don't judge people that are what some people in 3D would say behind. Nobody's ever behind. A person is at the rate of growth that they can handle, that's right for them on their soul growth. And when we're all upstairs, we wouldn't ever view each other like this. And that's what the 5D is saying here, is the energy is that where we're out of alignment, it's more to do with the rebalancing of your energy. This is not going to go on forever, but the Eastern philosophy and approach is what's going to help you at this pivotal moment. And it could be that to help steady your energy and to feel grounded, while to help you to navigate some of the decisions that you're making that you feel are forced upon you, to open up paths that you think might be diversions, but Spirit is saying no. They're actually, for some people, it's actually going to direct them down avenues they never thought they could do. For some people, it's going to ask them to open businesses and creative pursuits that they never thought they'd do. So there are many blessings that are going to come out of this, guys. It's just not in the way some people are just not meant to be and stay in 3D institutions. They're meant to either create their own, or to align with something. For many people, it will mean going into self-employment as well, and not being controlled by an outside source. And I think this is where the institutions that rely on their own people to constantly pull them out of the bad decision making that they make. Again, why are these leaders not stepping up? Well, sometimes there is almost like a crash and burn process where we have to see everything really not untangle itself, but it unfold, and that's not in our control, because it's actually part of the process of the dismantling, as I'm hearing, dismantling in a way so that we can learn, because the leaders and the way showers that are going to come in will learn how not to do it, and they're going through their own process of prep, but also these new systems that will be developed will be based upon the equality. They're not just about serving a small population of society, it's about serving everybody. But to get to that point, we have to reach a tipping point where collectively, consciously, there are enough people energetically that actually want that, to bring that in. And that's where Spirit is saying we are the answer to ourselves. Right, salamander, before I head off and I actually go and do a taping up with these two videos. So I'm just going to have a look at this salamander, right, spirit animal. So let's have a look. Oh, this is, wow, this is says it all. Right, guys, so the salamander totem. So I'm just going to read what's pulling out, what's been jumping out. The salamander spirit animal meaning is emotional intelligence. Again, this is aligning our life, not coming from the ego. You're right and I'm wrong. It's about it's not even about that. It's about moving away from the division. So if you keep seeing, dreaming about, or talking about a salamander often, this is your message. Okay, so it's a water-dwelling creature. So again, we're talking about the emotional realms. It emulates flowing motion, transformation, and sharp intuition. We can easily detect these qualities simply by observing them in nature. These characteristics are intensified during the night, as salamander are nocturnal animals. But you know, it's interesting because I'm feeling like, because I'm up in the northern hemisphere and you guys are down in the southern hemisphere, I feel like that's like the nod to the night and the day, because you're probably all asleep while I'm recording this. Interesting. Creatures of the night all share attributes symbolic of shadow, secrets, pristine vision, and psychic abilities. The salamander represents a comprehensive list of symbols such as emotion, renewal, awareness, and spirituality, as a particularly diverse spiritual totem. Wow, salamanders undergo an intense period of transformation throughout their lives, making them a concrete representation of the life cycle that all creatures experience. Metamorphosis always involves constant growth and adaptability through transitional periods. Right, so it's like the salamander thrives on never getting too comfortable, of understanding your circumstances will inevitably change. Boosting your emotional intelligence. Right. Harnessing emotional wisdom. That's the nod to the owl as well. This is the bit that really jumped out, because this is what I feel is being asked to be realigned collectively down in Australia, and Australia being a teacher to us. Sorry, not getting this right. Okay. Okay. Urges you to learn to express yourself effectively without running out of control of tempers, especially in a disagreement. Agree to disagree and earn respect without coming across as too aggressive or passive. Try to keep your cool even during stressful moments instead of making hard decisions that may lead to bigger problems. Wow. Oh God, I just felt like my lungs just went big exhale there. Try to empathise and motivate others by showing a positive attitude. Stay determined and focused even in the face of tough challenges. I mean, that doesn't mean you have to fight, guys. It's okay to just take a step back. Again, the messages were saying this in a temple card there. This is about setting the right mood and optimistic attitude all day. You can engage in prayer, meditation or fellowship during the day to keep yourself inspired. Yeah. Let's have a look at this. Anything else? It's about proper balance between all aspects of your existence. Life is a series of transformations that can sometimes be intimidating. Salamander assures us that it's here to assist us when we need it, especially during times of change. I mean, this is what, Australia is almost like going through massive change, that portal. It clarifies that it will only stay as long as we truly need it. The salamander meaning tells us to know that we each possess the ability to make necessary adjustments in our lives. We can compensate for lost or absent things, hence we should never be afraid to seize the moment and live vibrantly. Salamanders as animal totems have a very close connection with the environment. Could be an environmental activist. Or you may be prone to speak out against mismanagement of resources. Still, the salamander applauds you and your willingness to take action when needed to protect the environment. This is about the capacity for surviving shame, misfortune and embarrassment. They're strong animals and show you that you can always persevere through adversity. So this is really a message of strength and support for you all down in Australia today. Sorry I'm saying down, but we always relate to it in that way. But moving up, I should say. This is about harnessing emotional intelligence, guys. Not being quick to react. The message I was getting as well in the cards, and this was just collectively this week, was about, I think, was it it was the card of dishonesty that came out, and it was about you don't confront your opponent directly. You have to be smart, and this is where emotional intelligence comes in. Do what you need to protect you and yours and yourself, but also your energy. Not in a suspicious or a paranoid way, guys, but in a way that you're more effective when you go out in the world. Right, so I really hope that helps. I'm sending you all my love and support, and I will just let the messages come through from Spirit as and when they want to. And just thank you for support, guys, and thank you for listening, and hope this brings something for you that resonates with you personally, which is, I feel, what this message is all about. It's just to say that you're not alone and that you do have people thinking of you that might not even know you, but that's what light workers do when we're soul family, and you reach out, the call, the SOS, energetically somewhere in the world, we will hear it as a star family. All right, guys, lots of love. Take good care of yourselves.